And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Sohail, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're focused on Star Trek Deep Space Nine's episode Babel, and I'm so excited to be joined by such a nice panel, nice group of folks here. We've got Joel, we've got Rachel, we've got Aaron and Marcelo. Hey guys, happy Saturday. Also, a nice little start in the audience. Some of you guys are in the audience, so that's kind of cool.
We're here and we're in the audience.
I came from the chat.
Yeah, I'm
We're
so excited
everywhere.
about this episode because Flimsy, the round perpetual, and there's sometimes that there's a moops. I can't do it. I can't do it on the. I can't freestyle.
Dog,
I can't freestyle aphasia.
Last month, been a let it.
There you go.
They did such a good job with that.
They really did do.
There's a whole
job.
story about that, actually. When we get to that, I can talk about that.
Oh, that would be great.
Cool.
But
Yeah,
what
we're
I'm
trying to do an entire podcast speaking absolute nonsense.
Yeah, that was-
we should go totally.
It would last about 2 seconds, probably.
It would last, and everyone would leave because it would be miserable to listen to.
We already have Jill in our chat. Folks, if you're joining us, feel free to chat us up in the YouTube chat, or I think you can chat on X and Facebook, and we'll see it as well. Jill says some of. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to click on the right thing, but okay, I can't do it. It's already bad. I'm on my Apple Vision Pro, guys. Anyways, Jill says some of Joel's jokes hit better in person and others hit better in the chat. Oh, cool. We have this. We have the sub commander here too. Greetings, sub commander. Are you still on Romulus, or have you come back to Earth yet? Let us know.
Maybe he's on the moon.
So it's been. By the way, I don't have my video showing today because I'm on my Apple Vision Pro, and the weird kind of avatar that it creates, the persona as it's known, freaks some people out. Rightfully so.
Show them.
I'll show you real quick, audience. This is.
What is that? That looks wrong. Oh my God! Take it away.
All right. Back to
your eyes are soulless.
Waylink complete. Waylink.
It's true, but
we would say we wish we were recording earlier when Sohail first showed it to me, because I started like fetal positioning. Just like no.
If you want to see more, audience, tune into last night's Starfleet Boy episode.
We had.
I often appeared as this thing. I haven't named it yet. That persona.
It's
Moon Boy. Moon
Terrifying.
Boy.
I mean this with all my heart. I much prefer your actual face.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'll
make sure to. So, just for context, I am sitting in my bed with a nice little, those water hot bottle things, and kind of just like soothing myself. And so I just felt like, oh, let me try this fancy, expensive technology and see how it
that you bought.
And it works great for everything except it's got some work with the avatar
I
yet to
wonder
go.
if it would be less weird if I didn't know what you actually looked like.
This might be. Oh,
Yes.
I'm just a soft focus guy with hard focus glasses.
It doesn't let you scan your face with your glasses, by the way. It makes you put these fake.
Oh, that's why.
They hate people with glasses.
What's that?
They hate people with glasses.
That's
what Joel was saying.
It's true. But then it has all these like fake
prescription inserts, right?
I think the reason why is because through the lenses it distorts your actual face. So this LiDAR scanner that tries to scan you to make it accurate would get a distortion.
Yeah, you wouldn't want it to look weird or anything.
This is actually a question I have for all VR things. I've never. Can you Can you put like a different focus on each eye? Because my eyes are not the same.
Interesting.
Prescription.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
yeah,
you mean as far as this goes? Yeah. So
Yeah.
right now I'm wearing my contact lenses, and if you have regular vision, you just put this thing on and it's fine. But my contact lenses take care of that issue, where one of my contact lenses is one and the other is the other, and so that's fine.
So,
And then for people with glasses who don't wear contacts, you can just send your prescription, not your subscription, but your prescription to Apple, and they'll send you a
Apple, and
pair of inserts that you can put inside the goggles that'll correct your vision the way that
You might
your
have to have a
glasses do.
subscription for that.
Yeah.
Right, you might have to.
That seems like a lot of work. Technically, I don't like these are blue light glasses. I don't really wear glasses anymore because I had LASIK, but one of my eyes
nice.
is still worse than the other eye. Like it's
Oh yeah, finally.
like I technically had a lazy eye, and it's a miracle my eye never trailed. Basically, my
interesting.
right eye does almost all this thing, and left eye just kind of fills in some blanks over here. Like,
Yeah. No, I mean,
So-
I mean, for all my life, I had a lazy eye. I had a really serious intensive surgery when I was like 6. But like maybe 6 or 7 years ago, my current eye surgeon said, "You know what? That thing is going off to the moon again. If you want, I'll take a hammer and we'll bash it back into your head." So he was
Wow.
like, so I was like,
Well,
"Yeah,
it's a
take
good-
the hammer." Yeah,
It's
so I
a
was
good
like,
thing
"Take
that wasn't the solution to today's Deep
Nope.
Space
Yeah.
Nine episode.
Yeah. So he took a theoretical hammer and he did the surgery, and now nobody can tell that I ever had a lazy eye because it looks perfect.
nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I just realized you can actually touch the window with your finger. That's cool. That makes it a little easier to pick things.
Oh, cool.
Anyways, one of the things we do for those of you who tune in, and for those of you who are new, we do an episode summary. It's not like necessary. You can just start talking about the episode, but it helps. I found over the years a lot of people are like, "Oh, it helps me out," because sometimes I watch your discussions, but I haven't seen the episode in like a year or something, and so it just like jogs my memory.
Or
This
better
has
yet,
to be, yeah.
or better yet, sometimes you show up to the discussions and you're like, "Oh, I watched the episode, but you really didn't." So when Sohail does the summary, you're like, "Oh crap! Now I know what the episode's about."
Oh, interesting. I hope you're not one of those situations.
No, I'm like,
I watched the episode while I was doing my makeup earlier.
Nice.
I watched the episode too, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Today's episode summary done by Aaron is the best episode summary I've ever had on the whole run.
This is what
of this
happens when you don't have a
podcast.
lot of paid work and you have time to do things.
Well, we want
if you
to.
don't
We
like
want.
this summary, hire Aaron.
Yeah, as much as I like this summary, we want to get Aaron paid work. Oh, I don't know how that happened. That was weird. Okay. we want to get Aaron paid work. So on that note, by the way, Aaron's an amazing designer and artist. So check out his work
I
and
know.
hire.
Yes, everyone should pay Aaron to do things because they look really cool.
I'm gonna pay Aaron to do something. Sorry.
And
Ooh,
and
awesome.
author, except your book is on my desk, but under other books. Aaron.
Yeah,
Thank
there it
you.
is.
Thanks, Joel.
Oh, actually, no. Actually, I just
Aaron,
ordered your book.
Aaron, if
by
it
the
makes
way.
you feel better, it's literally under Shakespeare.
Well, hey,
Oh, that's funny. I'm holding my copy of the book up, but I
There's
just
a lot of
realized you can't see
Shakespeare
it.
references in Star Trek too, so that works.
I had it bookmarked to Vendorians.
Very nice. Oh, because of our was that because of our
Eight.
lower decks? Oh, very cool. All right, so here's the episode summary. The most fancy one we've ever had. Here we go.
People are stuck in an airlock. A freighter captain has been waiting for 2 days for his antimatter flow converter to be fixed. Somehow an EPS conduit is creating a high-pitched squeal in Dax's lab. Kira's console is acting up. And to top it all off, Cisco's coffee is too hot. So, the most important man in Starfleet is off to fix the replicators. He tests the repairs with a cup of coffee, and as we push into the wall, we can see that the repairs have activated a device that clearly shouldn't be there. Meanwhile, Quark is bemoaning the fact that he has hardly any customers because of a broken replicator, and Odo says that if he keeps this up, he might be forced to close down. In a rookie Season 1 mistake, Odo says that it's too bad because the command-level replicators are working just fine. After the constable leaves, Quark pulls out a couple of isolinear data rods, which are totally not fake, and determines where those functioning replicators are. Later, Quark is celebrating the repair of his replicator and somehow manages to turn an offer to Dax of a nice double-whipped Idanian spice pudding into a lecherous-sounding proposal. But Dax wants the pudding anyway. Back at Ops, O'Brien is feeling even more run down, and then, suddenly, like an iPhone voice transcription, no one can understand what O'Brien is saying. In sickbay, Dr. Bashir discovers O'Brien appears to be suffering from a form of aphasia that seems to have no cause. It's a perceptual dysfunction in which audio and visual stimuli are incorrectly processed, like an iPhone voice transcription. It soon becomes apparent that there must be some sort of virus because Dax begins shooing foolish assembled Regal-controlled weather. Dr. Bashir discovers that the aphasia is caused by a virus in the food created by the replicators on the command level, People all over the station are beginning to show signs of infection. In addition to the aphasia, the virus causes a dangerously high fever. The station is put under quarantine to keep the virus from spreading, and we all know how responsibly people act in a quarantine. It's business as usual at Quark's. People are laughing, eating, drinking, not wearing masks. Quark argues that he is an essential service like GameStop or Amazon warehouses. Odo discovers Quark has been selling food from a command-level replicator, spreading the virus all over the station, and then the virus mutates and becomes airborne. Major Kira finds a module in the replicator that created the virus, engineered by a Bajoran terrorist during the Cardassian occupation of the station. Kira determines a Dr. Cermak Wren from Bajor likely worked on the virus creation. Wren initially refuses to help, but relents when he becomes infected himself. Meanwhile, a freighter captain's failed escape attempt endangers the station, but Odo jettisons the ship safely, and Quark does something really weird with his ears. In the lab, Major Kira uses string impact, Lot shows red intense, and Cermak eventually develops an antidote for the virus. Dominant Owl.
So good. Thank you so much for doing that.
I was so surprised that the music, I just grabbed a clip out of the soundtrack and was like, oh, it works exactly with what is going on.
Yeah, I was like, how did you get this to work so well?
How did you do that?
It was completely an accident.
Okay.
And I like putting the Paramount thing at the end. Dun, dun, dun,
That worked.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to get spoiled and expect this every time from Aaron, but let me just say that if I
That was good.
for Drawn to Trek, I hope you do a few of these
That'd be
on your socials because I think they're amazing. Well done.
The having the photos from TrekCore, they take screenshots of everything. That really helped because it was just sort of like
Oh,
you
yeah.
download the ones that you think you need, and then you just sort of drop them into Premiere, and it just puts them all on a line. So all you have to do is just space it out.
Oh, that's
So,
rad.
Yeah.
well.
I get spoiled sometimes. I'm doing stuff for other fandoms, and I was like, "Oh, other fandoms don't have this like library of every screenshot ever."
I know.
Like,
So
Although
let's.
sometimes on Lower Decks episodes, they don't have as many pictures. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I was looking for one for caves. And I was like, oh, they don't have it.
They
Well, we
sometimes, like why is that the one? It's almost like it must be automatic or something, because every once in a while, like the one thing in that scene that you really wanted to see, it starts before it and then after it, and you're like, wait, where's the thing?
So I had to go play the episode and cut out all the pictures of the cave mouth with the
Oh yeah.
because they had none.
Hey, Chuck in the audience. Nice to see you there. Thanks for joining us in the chat. All right, let's get started with what folks thought of this episode. Marcelo, let's start with you, then Aaron, then Rachel, and then me, and then we'll end with Joel on this one. So go ahead, Marcelo.
Yeah, this episode was so much fun because I really get a kick out of poor O'Brien suffering a lot. But make no mistake, guys. I love Miles O'Brien. Miles O'Brien is one of my favorite characters in Star Trek ever. But I find it so hilarious how the Deep Space Nine writers just had this inclination to make that poor man suffer, because nobody suffers more than O'Brien in the history of Deep Space Nine. But I really like how this episode sort of brings this sort of doomsday situation to the station, and the fact that the virus is attacking people indiscriminately, so it really takes the crew a long time to figure out what the heck is going on, I thought was great. And also, when you watch this episode for the first time, you're like, holy crap, this might be it. This might be the end of the station. So, and it was really cool to see, to have the future of the station depend on somebody like Quark, and to see him work with Odo was freaking amazing. So yeah, I thought this episode was wonderful.
Very cool. Aaron?
Yeah, I to play off of that, I really like the fact that it was sort of setting up all of the how we see Deep Space Nine moving forward. It's like the first Quark or Odo kind of combo. Although he mentions his assistant Rom, which is interesting. It's like it's not his brother Rom yet. Yeah, so I that, and just the fact that this was basically the first filler episode, or like one of those extra ones that didn't move anything majorly along, but it was really good, and it was. I don't know. I really enjoyed it, and it's one of those things that I've had, maybe because it's a really early Deep Space Nine episode, but I can just, as it's playing, I can just say the dialogue with it. I don't know how, but it was probably because when I was making fun of it, I would use the Waylink complete, Waylink, just to make people just drive them crazy. So I probably just memorized that stuff. And I also had it on videotape for one of the first times. So
Oh, right. Wow.
but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I like what they did with O'Brien. We see him set up as like it's one of the earliest episodes of him being the working man, and it sort of distinguishes him from all the other Star Trek engineers that we've seen so far. So I thought that was kind of interesting
100%.
because we've really just seen him as a transporter guy
chief
until now.
before.
Yeah,
And of course now we know he's the most important person in
Exactly.
Starfleet
Yeah,
history. So
Of course.
Rachel, what about you?
I really enjoy this episode, and it's like one that I think I appreciate. Like, find it more fun now going back after watching all of Deep Space Nine, saying like, "Oh, see how far they've come, and see how things have changed," or some stuff that's like
or not changed.
Like, Odo's face looks odd, or I think we talked about like with Rom, but I do love the thing is like he figures out something because Rom's too stupid to have fixed that, and I was like, actually. I don't think you know Rob very well. You got lucky on that one.
I think it's one of those like I in my head I retconned it to be like that's just his way of like dealing. It makes you think that he's stupid and he's not. Like
Yeah.
he did, like
Right.
they did in Lower Decks. I'm like that's just his early on.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I just think Odo just doesn't realize Rom is
Yeah.
smart yet. Like
Right.
I don't and not that they haven't figured that out in this writing room yet. No. But yeah, I really enjoyed, and it's I really think that like acting wise, I was impressed that everyone was able to keep a straight face while saying the absolute gibberish they were saying.
It's really
Especially
good.
like Sarah Lachlan is so young doing that too. Like, how old is he in these episodes? It's really
Oh,
hard
I
for me
know
to
it.
tell.
I mean, he's
Like,
young enough where like Cisco picks him up and stuff. Like, still.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
Hard to do
it's
that
like-
in my head, I'm like, he's 12, but I was like, that might
could be
be wrong.
13, 12, 13. Maybe
He was
that's
born in
true.
'78, so
Oh, so what year did the show come out? 95? 93?
94.
Oh, so you would have
I
been
think.
like, yeah.
14 maybe when they shot it. But
Man,
Yeah,
Sirach
that's
Lofton
right.
and I are the same age. That's crazy.
because I think they were. I remember Aaron talking about how when he got on the set that they were treating him and Sir Lofton exactly the same as if they were. He's like, I'm like in my 20s. You know, it's like what's going on or whatever. So
I have dealt with situations similar to that where you enter and you're just like, no, I'm an adult. That is a child. Different,
but you're the
please.
same height.
Yeah.
Yes, geez.
Chuck
No, I
says
had
Sirach
a
is an
job.
awesome guy to know.
I had a job where I started as an intern at the same time they had some like high school interns, and they tried to get us to hang out, and I was like, I am 25. I am not hanging out with a 16-year-old. That's weird.
That's how you
It's
go.
a-
No.
It's a blessing and
Yeah.
a curse to look so youthful. I really like this episode too. I've seen it so many times. A lot of those times were for the drunk Space Nine show that I used to do, and so watching it sober is always like a different thing. But also,
sobering,
especially
everything.
sobering. One of the things that was kind of startling is how much I could relate it to our own experience during the pandemic, which was crazy. Like there were things that I was like, oh whoa, like the lockdown, like the procedures, like
he said essential services. I'm like, whoa, that's
right. I know.
that
I
a
was
big
like,
thing.
this
Like,
is crazy. I thought all these
Like-
things were like, yeah, like more recent, but no,
No,
I
I was
guess
sitting
these
there
are.
like,
The other thing I liked is this was DS9's very original take on the like. I think TNG tried to do it with the Naked Now. TOS did it with the Naked Time, and this was like DS9's like, okay, we're gonna get a virus, but let's not do the same sexy virus that always happens,
Yes.
and like or horny virus, I guess is a better word, but
this
but
was
let's do
originally supposed
something.
to be a TNG episode.
Right, that's right. You were saying that,
Oh.
and yeah, and so I'm glad it didn't make it on the TNG thing, and it landed over here. DS9, they did a great job with it. But yeah, it was both funny and at times tense. Like I was really worried that they weren't, even though I know what happens. I got caught up in it, and I was like really worried about what was going to happen. So yeah, a really solid episode. Great fifth episode. Joel, what'd you think?
Well, yeah, I think it's great. It's a combination of the great medical overarching plot with the aphasia virus, but then you get lots of obviously wonderful character stuff, especially with Odo and Quark. And I wrote this down. Where did I write that down? Plus, of course, we get some nice stuff with Kira and connections to the underground, and she gets to be total badass and kidnap doctors. and of course, O'Brien starts suffering here. This is it. This is the
start.
The other first few episodes were annoying for O'Brien, but this is suffering.
Yeah, his is suffering. Yeah.
My console's offline, Chief. I love when he does that.
I'll fix it, Chief.
Yeah.
Just the ending. O'Brien.
Yeah. My job, who is dealing with the people left, so they didn't rehire. There's like now I'm like one of the only people in my position that helps people, and I'm like I'm relating too hard to them
like
right now.
Like how stressed out he was in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was like crazy.
Or just weird, like I need to go there and there and there and there, and I'm like, oh no, too relatable.
Of course, I need to go there. Of course.
Yeah.
When using the wrong word, so it happens when you're really stressed and tired too.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like that could easily have been just mistaken as like, oh, I'm just overexhausted or whatever.
Aaron, do you know what season this episode was slated for TNG? Like what the details are around that?
5 years before this came out, so whatever.
Oh, okay.
And it was written by the same person who did Hollow Pursuits. So that's
Then.
around that time, I'm sure. Season 4, maybe. I'd have to go back and look.
Well, 93. So what was season 6 was on, right?
Okay, so pretty early on. Maybe it's like a season 2.
Yeah, I think.
Oh wow.
It lines up.
They've been
That would've
kicking
been
around for a
interesting.
long time. It's also the first writing credit for Ira Stephen Bear on the
Yeah,
series.
I noticed that one.
Hey.
Right on.
So,
Jill
The
says
man
that
behind it all.
Jill says that Cole Meany was 100 times better with the babble than all others. He's such a natural and organic. I thought he was actually supreme with that babble.
He
It was
sold
good.
it. Yeah.
I remember I saw an interview with him one time where somebody asked him, how do you memorize all that Star Trek jargon? He's like, you don't memorize, you just kind of say it and then forget it all.
It's a short-term
you
memory
have
buffer.
Maybe he's just like, this is just like technobabble. The technobabble is just as much nonsense as this is.
That's true.
Well, and when they wrote it, the guy, this is what I was talking about earlier, that he wrote it as just nonsense to start with. It was just like, randomly picking words, and it didn't work. So he had to basically write out kind of the cadence of what you would say. So the person, when they're reading it, they had the fake words and then the real words next to it. So they knew what they were supposed to be saying, so they could use the intonation and
that's
all
clever.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
that makes a
That
lot
makes
more
sense.
Yeah.
And you could
That's
hear
very
there was consistency. Like sometimes you could tell O'Brien was trying to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And, like, so he would use like similar words even though they were not
There's
sensical.
a
But
simple
they were,
hesitation, I think is what
yeah,
he
yeah,
had a
exactly.
couple
Or
times.
yeah. So there's a lot of things there. That's interesting. I wonder if they could have taken it even further, where it would have been interesting if like all the aphasic people could understand each other, but not the
That would be weird.
Like it would be
That's
super weird. So it's
different
like
thing.
creating two different.
Well, that wouldn't have been a
languages.
very good virus then, because
Yeah, that's true. Then they couldn't
then
have.
the
Yeah.
Bajorans couldn't hear them, and then that'd be even worse.
Then you could universal translate it if everyone's.
Well, that's what I wonder. It's like, is it so random that the universal translator just can't keep up?
Maybe
Yeah,
if
that has to
they
be
lived
it.
and it's a few weeks later it could do it, but
Yeah, that could be.
Because they
But
do
they have
say
a very small
specifically that it's
window.
random, right?
Well, I mean, they randomly chose it when they put it together, but you were saying, like, they were trying to say the same thing, and they said the same.
Sorry, in the episode, Bashir is like explaining the virus, and he
Right.
he specifically says it's randomly choosing words, like
Oh,
Right,
randomly
except for the
okay.
fact that when he
redefining
said it a second time, they said the exact same thing. It wasn't random the second time. Because he went back, like we just said, O'Brien went back and said the same thing.
Right, he
again
was saying
later.
some words that seemed similar to like
Yeah.
like it seemed like he was
Maybe
trying.
it wasn't completely random.
Yeah. But
I
you
mean,
know
the episode wasn't consistent with itself. That's shocking.
what did you guys think of the whole Odo Quark dynamic in this episode? We're starting to get to see like more and more of what they're going to be like later. I think.
good.
This was
Odo's confession
awesome.
to not gambling was heartfelt. It was just
Yeah,
You've
it was
never
a lot of
gambled?
Fun. It's very like it does look a good way of showing like they're enemies, but also like there's a weird burgeoning respect between the two of them.
because they have each other and they're alone otherwise.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Except for the fact that Rom and Nog both would not be affected because they are also Ferengi, but
Right.
Yeah.
they didn't answer any of
Right.
those calls. But, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I
I
would
mean,
say-
I think that this
I did
episode is
think I was like, I did wonder where they, because I assumed that, but does it ever say in the episode that it's like because he's Ferengi is why he's not affected?
Yeah, I said the Ferengi.
Quark says
whatever.
that, but you don't know if he's just being.
Yeah, if he's just
Oh,
that's
BSing or
fair.
not. Yeah.
He could just be
'Cause it's the
BSing.
thing
Yeah.
that made sense to me. I was like, well, they're not affected by other brain things, so why?
Things.
Like that's
Yeah,
not an
that makes sense. Yeah.
impossible like leap to make.
Oh, interesting. Marcelo, what were you gonna say?
That's a good point.
No, the other thing that I found really great about this episode between Odo and Quark is this is sort of like the start of the bromance, sort of the I hate you bromance sort of thing that they got going on.
The frenemy, I guess, is
Yeah, the frenemy. I
the
don't like you.
frenemy
I want to throw you in
relationship.
jail.
I think my favorite
was-
part was the "I'll beam you down there."
Yeah,
It was like,
Yeah.
relax. I served on a Ferengi freighter for 8 years. I must have witnessed the procedure hundreds of times. What? Energizing.
Doesn't he later Quark be like, yeah, I was a cook. Like,
Yeah. Something
Oh yeah, that's right. He's a cook. Yeah.
But you know what? Since we're talking about that, I was like really impressed with the docking clamp
Oh,
like
yeah.
thing that they built. Like that was really cool. It
That's
looked
really
solid
cool.
and like
Yeah, you know, like, you could really see what he was doing with the
Mm-hmm.
levers.
yeah, that was really neat. But
You didn't
There's
just
an
hold a light.
early, like a blooper. I want to say that of him breaking it by accident or something like that.
Probably.
Because it's like it isn't as solid as it really appears.
Oh, I'm sure that.
yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
all that stuff's like made of wood or plastic or
Yeah.
whatever. It's true.
If it was in
Oh,
HD, I wonder what it would look like.
One of the things I love that Rene
Um,
Bergeron does is like he's so confident and like you can't like see through him, but then when shit gets real and it's just him, he's all like freaking out and like scared. It's like a very interesting
Mhm.
thing that he does with Odo a few times. What were you gonna say, Rachel?
I don't know. That's
About the wood, the
Oh no, I
machinery.
feel like there's so many blooper. Every time you watch a blooper of a TV show, you're like, everything should be falling apart around them. The way it like something just
There's a
Don't
lot
walk
of
on the
fire
floor
in
too
this one,
hard.
too.
like. There's a blooper in Parks and Rec where Chris Pratt's character like throws a briefcase and he manages to throw it in a way where it hits one of the light things and it takes all the power went out.
Oh gosh.
Like at least the lights went out. And he starts doing a dance, and he does like a little song about like, "Sorry, props is not gonna be able to fix that." Like,
Aaron
mean-
also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Marcel.
No, I'm sorry. Just real quick. Like every time I watch the Star Trek bloopers in particular, I laugh myself silly, but I often wonder, like, how these people get through a shooting day because there's so many bloopers. Like, how these people get through it all?
Well, we actually know that DS9 was not such a fun set, but apparently TNG was like that. Where how do these
Yeah.
people get through it? Like they're always.
Yeah.
Avery was serious, so.
to be fair,
Although
with
apparently
Deep
in
Space
this-
Nine, from what I've heard, like it was like, was it serious just because TNG was like an insane set? Was it just more professional? Like,
Indeed.
Probably.
What were you gonna say,
I
Aaron?
read, I read somewhere that Dax, what am I trying to say? Terry Farrell and maybe it was
Column,
No.
I think.
Cole Meany. I think, yeah, when they were sick, they were both. I guess they're pretending to be way more sick than they were, and then by the time until the camera got onto them, then they were normal. But they're like, and the idea was to like not let anybody else, crack up. So it's like, that's the one thing that I did hear about like a
Oh.
joke on this episode.
And that's when
And I know that this is one of Armin's
I mean-
favorite episodes.
Oh, cool.
because yeah, it sounded like probably they were doing normal, and then you have the TNG crew, which had multiple directors be like, I cannot work with these people.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah,
awful. Just
These people are
you know,
insane.
and then then you have Star Trek. Then you have Patrick Stewart in the corner going, "God damn it! What have I got myself into? These people aren't serious. What the hell?"
And then apparently he became
And then he becomes-
the worst of all.
Yeah.
Aaron, I think you noticed something about Morn during.
Oh,
your
yeah.
watch, yeah.
It's the first time we see Morn, and he's talking.
What?
We don't hear him, but he's talking to
What?
another person.
really?
I hate that.
Do you have
I
the
hate
screenshot? I sent you a screenshot, Sohail. I can pull it up. I think.
Oh, I can't.
grab
I'm
it.
useless with the Apple Vision
Yeah, I'll
Pro.
get
So
it.
if you could
Apple Vision Pro, so useful.
Useless.
I want to
can
spend
only-
so
Are
much
you-
money on that right now.
So Hill, are you not a pro at the Apple Vision Pro?
Yeah, I guess I'm not a pro yet.
For $300 a month, we'll let you be a pro.
Wait, is it $300 a month?
I made that up.
No.
No,
Okay,
no, that's
God.
totally it.
The thing is, I believed it. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I could believe that.
It's Apple, yeah.
I also
All right, here
really
we
loved
go.
in this episode while you're searching for that.
Oh.
Cork is the little hacker with his little security sticks he's sticking in behind the stuff. I thought that was great.
There's early morn.
He's chatting with this lady.
Cool.
least she's
guy.
not
That's
this
funny
one.
that early morn is short for early morning too, which is really
Yeah.
weird.
So yeah, this is when they first come in. And it's like, what is going on? Why is everybody still in the bar and gambling and everything? So yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
no, that scene was unfortunately relatable. When I would see like videos
Yeah.
of people out and about, and I was like,
Yeah.
"There's a virus. Why? Why are you doing that?"
I was always just pissed because like I have a compromised immune system, so I like even today really shouldn't be going places. And it was back then. It's like, oh, good. I had a heart transplant. I have this great life now that I can actually do these things I never could do before. And because you wanted to go to a barbecue or get drunk at a bar, now I'm never going to be able to do that again. Thanks. Sorry.
Yeah.
My
No,
little
it's
rant.
legit.
That's
Or the people who had to get
fair
their
right to have.
haircuts. That was a big thing too. It's just like,
Oh,
I have to go to a hairstylist. I'm like, oh, okay.
That was there's a lot.
Yeah,
There's
but-
so
yeah,
much.
I mean,
cut your own hair. I
Somewhere there
do.
are pictures. My hair got so long because I wasn't like.
no, actually, a family member of mine that got stuck with us at the start of the quarantine. Actually, I got so stir crazy at one point. I'm like, dude, I gotta have somebody cut my hair. So he's like, you know what? Shut up. Go to the bathroom. And he took a razor. No, not a razor. Yeah, he took a razor and he shaved my head off.
Oh,
That
So
works.
my hair got down to like waist length,
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
which is I have a lot of hair, and it was a lot. And when I finally was able to get a haircut, I went chin length. It
Oh,
was the
wow.
first time I
Was
was
that like
like
$800 in conditioner a month? Wow.
I probably was not taking good enough care of my hair because I
Because I
was
had
mad
belt
about
length
it.
hair in high school,
Yeah.
just after, and that was a lot of conditioner.
Next time
Yeah.
you grow your hair that long, you can send it
That's
to make
over.
it turn it into a
For me.
wig. When you cut it.
Unfortunately would not have been able to do that because part of it had been bleached.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
oh,
That was all gone by the time I cut it all. But yeah, you cannot send at least bleach. I'm not sure about other color treated hair, but color treated hair is weird with donations of that kind.
Was this the first time we saw isolinear rods
Oh.
on Star Trek? I feel like because that was a
I think
cool
so.
thing. I was
Yeah.
noticing, and I was like, isolinear rods are kind of cooler than isolinear chips because
Yeah.
Mhm.
you can encode
Are they
all around them.
Kardashian or are they? At first,
Yeah,
I
it's a
was never
Kardashian
sure.
tech.
I think they're Kardashian.
Because yeah,
Well, it
there's a
makes sense to be
big
one of the
one
first
later.
ones.
But
Yeah,
And then-
I put that in there actually. It was.
The
I
other
should have
thing
pumped the sound up, but
yeah.
The other thing I wrote down was the whole scene about Dax getting attention. What
Yeah.
Oh,
does it
yeah.
feel? What were your thoughts about that? Let's go to Rachel first, since you are the
It's
female
weird.
here.
I don't know. I was just
you're
like,
the resident
I mean-
female expert.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm also the one who can't tell when people are flirting with me, so maybe I am getting that attention. I'm just like, wee.
It's very Curzon, though.
Oh
Isn't
my
it very
No,
Curzon?
it does, because so many guys are like, oh, you always get free drinks. And I was like, I have never gotten a free drink from an absolute stranger before. I have gotten
And you
perhaps
shouldn't
free
accept one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like,
drink- No.
Yeah.
thank you.
I've gotten free drinks from people I was like in a group with already, in more of a I'm going to the bar, do you want anything? But like, I don't know. I think guys think women get more attention in that way than they actually do, or at least wanted attention in that way. I guess someone tried to get me a drink in Vegas, but I didn't know him and I didn't let him.
We all better protect Rachel when we're out. Like, random folks giving you drinks there.
I mean, we don't have to. There's the guy that like kept trying to insist that he give me a ride back to my hotel. That was across the
Oh,
street.
yeah.
Which was
Yeah,
not
I remember
far,
this,
yeah.
Which
So-
was, I did not get in a car with this man. I very much was like, absolutely not. Like,
Good.
Yeah,
I
good for you.
I'm an adult woman who knows how to take care of myself. But I was like, what? It's the dude. He kept insisting, and I ended up.
Oh my gosh.
Some other dude came up to say something with the cosplay I was working, and I've been like, "Oh, have you met my friend?" And then left them together, and just left, and just went back to
Oh
my
my
hotel.
god, that's funny.
I left it with like another guy. I wouldn't
Okay,
watch him
good.
with another girl. Like,
Okay.
That's the interesting thing about the
Yeah.
scene is that like Kira was finding that attention as being like annoying, and Dax
Yeah.
is like finding it
Yeah.
like kind of she likes it. And also interestingly, we get a date like she hasn't been female in 80 years, so we know that the previous host
Curzon,
before
yeah.
Curzon
Yeah.
was a female. Do we remember the name? I forget the name. It wasn't Emily or I forget it.
Oh,
what
I
it was.
have
It was like-
to look that up.
I'll have to
hey,
look it up too.
memory alpha.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
List
What
of
up?
Dax
Curzon -1 Dex.
Curzon
Yeah.
-1. That's a great title for
That's our new
Curzon
nomenclature.
-1.
Let's see if I could. Okay, Dax Symbiont. I was having to because at first I was trying to reach the Jedzi as Dax's.
But it is something interestingly enough, I was kind of disappointed that in the future people are still catcalling women and like, doing those kinds of things. Like
It is
I
a
was
Ferengi bar.
yeah, well, it's true, it is Ferengi, but those were like various different folks, and they were just walking on the way to Quarks, I think, is what it was.
Yeah.
Where's
but-
Right
DS9 not,
outside it.
and Memory Alpha doesn't have a list. That's weird.
I did
hate when
find a
they don't.
list. Oh, so I think. Oh, okay. I think we have discovered a plot hole
Oh,
of that the. Well, the one before
here it is.
Corazon is Joran, who she doesn't remember. But
Oh.
the before that is Torres, who I think is a man, but I'm double checking.
Oh.
It was a male, yeah. And
Yeah.
then
Tarias.
oh, it's how you pronounce that. And then Audrey, I have to check.
It's either a
Andre.
plot
Okay.
hole or the previous host was trans and changed to female at some point.
That's
So
possible.
that could be a thing as
That
well.
could be it too.
Or
I think
Doctor
her
Who,
reaction-
and we just insert new characters inside the lineage.
I think
Richard Grant was a
Maybe-
Dax too.
Or maybe Curzon was actually not that old. He just took shit care of himself when he fell.
He was 25 when he died.
Yeah.
in our improv thing where I was playing a trill, we turned a mistake into like a running gag where it's just sort of like the way I was saying it is like that person would have been in with the symbiote for like half a year or something like that. Like the timing was just messed up, and it's like, oh, poor Tobin or whatever his name was. It was just like, so it was always, nobody knew what happened to him. It was just like, oh, this poor guy.
Hit
Oh,
by a
no.
space bus.
That's what I
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's kind of what I was like thinking. Maybe it's something like that.
That's pretty funny.
But-
He went to
It was kinda
Ryza
big-
too early in his life and died.
Yeah.
But we do have perhaps her memory is a little messed up for the fact there is a symbiote, like a host we know that was like erased.
Erased,
That's
yeah,
true.
that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would
She's
be, I guess
she
this
seems
is
to be
one right
feeling
before
like nostalgic
Curzon.
more than like, like
yeah.
thinking it's.
Or maybe she's
I don't know.
bad at math. I relate to that. Like,
That's not good. If she's the science person, no, she's not bad at math because she calculated. Well,
Yeah.
I guess she was off a little bit.
maybe
with the
she was
triples.
already being
That's right.
affected by the virus, and she said
There
the
we
wrong
go.
year.
There we go.
But it made sense to Kira, so no one questioned it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's,
It's interesting. Yeah, she got the virus with the symbiont. I wonder how it affected the symbiote.
Oh yeah,
oh,
that's a good
yeah.
question.
They didn't have time to go into that because that'd be a whole episode you could do.
It could be like maybe he didn't even understand what was going on. Like,
Or he's just like really mad. Be like, what?
The symbiote is
Yeah.
just like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
I can tell.
Our
the
text
symbiote-
message
the symbiote's like,
audience.
I guess this is a new experience to add to the list.
Our text message audience, thank you, by the way. I love that we have a text message audience. Missed what we're talking about, the Dax error. So what it is Dax says 80 that I haven't been a female in 80 years, but we just looked on Memory Alpha to see who the host was, and we're not sure that there was a female host 80 years
Because
ago.
Curzon was right before Dax. That's
Curzon.
Yeah.
we
Right.
And
see.
then according to Memory Alpha, it would have been Joran before that, but she doesn't remember Joran.
Yes,
but it's still
erased.
a man
Right.
right before that.
Torin, whatever.
Torres.
Torias.
Oh, I don't remember. I'm just looking at. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. And then the one before Trias.
I remember it's like psoriasis. Psoriasis. That's what
It's all right.
I should remember that. I got that.
Yeah.
Or like in this episode, what was the name of the guy? Sumac. Sumac
Yeah.
Ren.
Oh, Sumac
like
Ren,
Kylo-
who was actually
Kylo
named
Ren.
after Ren and Stimpy.
I
Right,
read
or-
Yeah,
that
I always
memory
thought it was like
also.
Kylo. But yeah, there's two references to Ren
How
and
old is
Stimpy
Ren
in
and
here.
Stimpy?
It was pretty
90s.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd been out a year or two, I think. When this came out.
A neighbor is mowing the lawn. Can you hear that? / do I need to mute?
No, you're good.
No.
We're hearing various things, like my mom's banging on something in the kitchen. I hope you guys don't hear
Yeah,
that, but
so,
something.
yeah.
This
I
thing
forgot
somehow-
that Trias does die kind of young, doesn't he?
Oh, Ren and Stimpy, 1995.
See, that's what doesn't.
Were there shorts or something before that?
Yeah,
We're gonna-
when was this?
That's
Oh no,
okay.
91. Sorry, 91.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know how.
It ran 91 to 95. That was the.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I just got
That
it
makes
wrong.
more sense. I was like,
Sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't mention Space Madness because that's the Ren and Stimpy line. It sticks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I
No, I
think
mean, watching Tara Farrell walk around all sexyified, be pleased with herself, just makes me happy because I love that woman. Look, like if I was there and if Tara Farrell walked past me, I'm like, I would have a hard time looking. But I would try to be like a proper gentleman and not look. But I would know that she was there, so I'd be like, "Oh fuck, I just gotta get away from this woman."
You
'Cause I don't
wouldn't
wanna
offer
look
to be
that
fair,
way?
I was too fair of a straight woman. I would also notice Terry Farrell.
she's very, very tall.
She is very tall,
Yeah,
from my understanding.
I guess
My-
I've been in the same room as her. I remember being like, "Oh, whoa."
Yeah.
Oh
Like-
well, yeah.
My college roommate was a script person on the Paramount lot. We just ran scripts back and forth, and he would
Cool.
have lunch, and like she was almost always in the canteen. He was like the same height as her. I'm like, you need to ask her out. And it's like, do you want me to ask her out because you want me to be happy and have a friend, or do you just want to know somebody who is dating a Star Trek actor? I'm like,
the
sure. Little of A, little of B.
I
Oh, hey, little B.
I have a friend that's a woman that's 6 foot tall, and it could be weird sometimes with like. One, she was younger than me, and people always assumed she was older than she was because of her height, and I had to be like, leave this child alone.
Jill
give
in
her
the
beer.
audience wants to know how long before we see people reporting to O'Brien. I know later there are staff meetings, but not sure who
I
works for him
assume-
at this point.
'Cause,
Yeah.
like there were other people, like when you at the beginning of the episode, they're
At
trying
the
to get these
airlock?
people out. There are
Yeah.
other people
Yeah.
working on it. I assume all those
That's
people
true.
report to O'Brien, but they were extras, so no one got to talk.
Right. We get.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever do get to know other staff, do we? Like as far
A
as I can
little
recall,
bit,
a little
not-
bit maybe. Yeah.
Rom.
Don't we?
but
What's
Well,
his name? That guy who was the Marquis or
And
Eddington?
what
Isn't he-
and
Eddington
don't
is
forget.
security. right?
Eddington. Oh, he's scared.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think I know what you're I think I know what you're thinking of. The person, she's only in like 2 episodes, but the woman who ends up trying to blow up Barile,
Yes.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
her we get to know.
Yeah.
And
I
then
remember
she
he
tries,
was really disappointed that she did that. And
yeah, and then she tries to blow up Barile.
Barile, yeah.
I remember a friend because I think she'd forgotten about that, where she was like saying something about like Kai Wynn or like something later, and I was like, to be fair, the first time we met this character, she tried to murder him. Like,
yeah.
he should not trust her.
I thought what was kind of cool about this episode, like if it had been in TNG, it just would have been the Cardassians created the virus, and that would have been the end of it.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
They like to play with the moral ambiguity because it's like, wait,
Mhm.
the
The Bajorans.
the Bajorans created it.
Right.
It's like what? There's sort of this you can't really.
It's like the people
it's
that
hard
are
to
now their
believe and-
allies because
Yeah.
they weren't.
And they're sort of mad too. It's like, well, why didn't they activate this virus?
Yeah.
They were probably captured or killed.
Well,
Oh.
just wait. There are several episodes where things will just get activaid. You'll
True.
see more of them.
I
Attention, Cardassian worker. Wait.
I like people know I'm a military brat, grew up on military bases. But I remember once I was sitting in high school and they were so vague and it made it so much scarier. They're like, this road, the main road on base is closed because we found an unexploded ordnance, is how they put it. And we're like,
Oh wow.
please
Like a
explain
mine or
more. And
Like,
then
yikes.
and then by the way, like it should have taken me 5 minutes to drive home. It was gonna take me 30 because I had to go around like the base. And then I called my dad. I'm like, "Do you know anything?" He was like, "Why did they word it like that?" They found a bomb from World War II that like never
Oh, you
went
told me
off.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like what was funny, it's an American bomb. Like we put it there.
We forgot it there. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
forgot
like,
it there.
So it was this was a Japanese base during World War II. Probably fell from an airplane, just never went off.
Mm.
Got buried under something. Apparently, they built the gym next to it.
Great.
Yeah, but then they basically we all got to watch it go off though that night. Like, 'cause,
Oh, that's
you
cool.
know,
Fun.
they did like bomb squad came out and.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I saw a Bomb
they
Squad
rubbed
robot the other day.
Ooh, I guess that's
the
scary,
robot dog.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's the one. It looks like what is it? The company that makes the
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, it's like you have to say Massive Dynamics, and no, that's from Fringe.
Massive Dynamics. Actually, no. Funny thing about Massive Dynamics.
Or Boston.
When I was covering Fringe on my podcast, I did a mock commercial for Massive Dynamics.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
I never
is-
understood what that.
Oh,
company
Massive
did.
Dynamics is a real thing from Fringe. I didn't
Yes.
realize
Yeah,
that.
it
Oh,
was-
gotcha.
Leonard Nimoy was the head of it.
Massive.
Oh,
Nice.
Massive Dynamics is like, in Fringe, it's the biggest tech company in the world, and Massive Dynamics is like Apple if they had a medical license.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's Apple, it's medical, and
Yeah,
kind of
And
the
Umbrella
Yeah.
Incorporated too.
Elon
Yeah.
Musk stuff, sort of all glued
yeah,
together.
yeah. They also have military contracts.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, they have tons of military contracts.
They're like a
Oh.
video game company where you would just
Yeah.
have somebody that could do anything basically.
And also they have a pharmaceutical company called Calvin Genetics,
Oh, interesting.
Kelvin,
which is a Calvin Genetics is a nod to Harry Calvin, which is he's the godparent of J.J. Abrams.
Right, yeah.
Henry
And
Calvin.
is that why we
that's
get the
the
Kelvin
US
universe?
Kelvin.
And Kelvin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
yeah, and everything and everything that JJ does, there's Calvin something.
Okay.
Thank
In
you for
Fringe,
the
we also
compliment, Chuck.
got- Oh, sorry.
Oh,
In Fringe. Oh, where did Sohel go?
Yeah.
On the moon, remember? There's
In
interference.
Fringe, they had who's the guy who played Baylock? He's been in a lot of stuff like that.
yeah,
Or, him.
yeah, him, yeah.
He was playing like kind of a crazy person, which he kind of does a lot in some of these.
Yeah.
And he's like telling the guys or the two main leads that this is what's going on, and they're believing him. And then he starts talking about how a Romulan has gone back in time and is killing off the. It's just like
Okay.
But
yeah.
it was basically a preview of 2009.
No.
Yep, that's what it was.
That or that one or the second, I can't remember, whatever it was a preview of that Star Trek that was coming out like in 3
Yeah.
days, which I thought was
On your-
funny. It's like
on
you're
your
giving
end, did
away
I-
the entire plot
Which
in
is-
Fringe.
which is not a coincidence because Fringe was co-created by who?
Right.
Alice
Yeah.
Kurtzman and Bob Orsi. Yes.
Yeah,
So-
and J.J.
Hey.
Abrams worked on it too.
Yes, of course.
My Apple Vision just like randomly restarted. On your end, did you guys see me like drop
Just
out and come
weird.
back?
You
Oh, I
dropped
did
out.
just.
Yeah.
Oh,
It did something weird. for a
so
second.
weird. It was like almost
And
like.
there's a black box that says now assimilating Sohail.
Anywho, I was trying to say thank you to Chuck, who says this is a great panel. I think we're chaotically wonderful.
And Chuck is great. I met Chuck at SCLV
Get back
last
to the
year.
plot eventually.
It's
Yeah,
true.
we'll get there.
We're
Did
actually
anyone
almost
else have
coming.
any-
We're
have
coming
any
up.
themes for this episode? I think
What's
I
that?
picked
I guess communication is probably a theme, right?
Yeah,
I think communication for sure.
I thought
And
just,
just
being trapped was the thing that went through the whole episode, from the airlock in the beginning to the quarantine to O'Brien's never-ending to-do list to language revolting and being trapped in your head.
I think there's like a sub theme though, like if you got with because we didn't talk about it much with Jake and Cisco, how they like there was that expressed communication, but it was a lot with like touch and just like
Mm.
So I think there's the theme of like there's more than one way to communicate.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that's
Yeah,
a theme.
no.
But I mean,
You know, I mean,
Question: Is
I
this
mean-
episode
oh.
is it like Babel or Babel?
You say
Babel.
Babel, I say Babel. I don't know.
I-
it's like the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, I always say I say it both ways, but I guess it
I always thought this was Babel because like babbling.
or
Right, but
Babel
that would be
fish,
another
the
I
Babel
think that's
fish.
where we
Phoebe.
get that word.
Yeah.
Probably. Babel is
Probably.
the what is it? The myth is that the god took all of the languages or took the one
Yeah.
language
Yeah.
and split
The
it
tower
into.
was too cool. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, like Jill said.
No, I
Babel
mean-
no
was
cool
two pieces.
towers.
No, I mean the one thing, the one terrifying thing about this episode for me is that I know a couple people who can't read very well, and if this were to happen to them, they have no other way of communicating. So, let's say if I get aphasia or whatever, or they get this thing, and they won't be able to use like a standard type message to speak to
Yeah.
people. So it'll be them kind of just like.
They
So
tried
it's-
that.
episode,
Well, they
they
tried
couldn't
that
read
too,
either,
and
but-
They couldn't
even
read either.
O'Brien
Right, yeah,
couldn't.
yeah, you know,
Remember, he couldn't
right.
write. Like he
Right,
was
he
writing in
couldn't
the
get it straight,
aphasia as
right.
well. By the way, aphasia is a real thing. They
Yeah, it
pointed
is.
out in this episode where you usually get it through some kind of head trauma or whatever.
And
But if I'm not mistaken, there's a famous actor who was Bruce Willis. If
Bruce
I'm not
Willis has it.
mistaken,
yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
has
wow.
aphasia, and he's at the point now where he can no longer really communicate or
And-
anything like
yeah.
I
that.
mean, yeah,
And-
that's why Bruce Willis is like retired.
Yeah, and he has frontal dementia as well.
Oh
So he
wow.
has aphasia and frontal dementia, whatever. I mean, I know what dementia is, but it's in the front of his brain.
It's wild
I
to
have a
me
quote-
that you're already like in that rare category of being famous enough to be a celebrity, but then you get the rare kind of disease as well. Poor Celine
Mhm.
Dion, she's in a similar situation
Oof.
with this disease where
Yeah.
it's called stiff
can't
person's
move.
disease or
Stiff
something like
per-
that. Yeah, she won't be able to at some point. She's doing everything she can to kind of treat it or keep it at bay. But yeah, it's wild to me that you're already in that like weird category of like the slim chance of becoming a celebrity, and then you catch the slim chance of catching this very rare, kind of condition or disease as well, which is interesting.
I just boil it down to bad luck for those two wonderful people.
Hmm.
I have a quote from Becca Caddy from her Science of Star Trek series where she talks about this and she says,
Oh, cool.
not only does it provide us with a series of symptoms to look for, but accurately portrays the sadness, confusion, and frustration that often accompanies aphasia.
Right.
Wow, very good.
That's like.
So
a
it seems like they
really
did a good job with it.
Yeah.
Like, it showed like, I mean, it would be horrible to go from like, I can communicate with you fine to like, oh my god, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Especially
That
like,
room must have been scary. All those patients in there, none of who could do anything
I mean,
Yeah.
you
except
have,
look
like,
at each other and
I mean, like
terror.
that scene with like Jake and Dax trying to get the nurse to like be like, we can feel he's hot. Like
Yeah.
something's wrong with O'Brien,
Right.
And
but they're just like, come with me.
right, in addition to that, on top of the aphasia, that's just like one of the symptoms. Like you're eventually going to get a fever and like
Mhm.
die.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a crazy disease.
This is probably a question that can't be answered, but I'm wondering if somebody was also fluent in sign language or something. I wonder if one type of communication would actually still work and the other one would. Like, is there
I don't know.
is it in
You
two
know-
different
you know-
ways?
this episode, no, but in reality,
but-
maybe.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm curious.
I think in this
I-
episode, based
I mean,
on
they
the
can
logic that I was
pantomime,
seeing, like
so they-
even the sign language might be. Oh yeah, you're right. They did try to pantomime. I don't know. That's a good question. It begs further thought for sure.
Further investigation.
Indeed. But we're coming up to the hour, so it's time to kind of wrap up on our discussion. This has been fun. It went by like way quicker than I
Mhm.
thought.
Yeah.
It did.
For those of you who are patrons of Text Trek, there will be a Patreon watch party today in half an hour from now, roughly, on the Text Trek Discord server. So go check that out. Father was hoping to make it to this discussion, but he can't. But he'll be there at the Discord, and it's a lot of fun being a patron of Text Trek. If you are at a certain level, you get a birthday party. I had my first one last month. It was really cool. We all did. Not all of us, but a few of us in this room did, which is very cool.
Yeah, that's true. 3 of us.
We're watching more Deep
Four.
Space Nine today too.
Yeah, what
Oh.
was the watch party today? I
It's
forget.
Armageddon games.
Armageddon games, very cool. So
I was like, am
Which
I
one
the
is
only
that?
one whose birthday isn't in the middle
I
of
don't
like
remember.
spring, summer here?
And when's your birthday, Rachel?
November.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Like,
May. We're Club May. Yeah, that's right.
Club
Yeah.
May.
no, I just,
But
yeah,
yeah.
it's just mine's so much further up.
It happens.
Well-
We won't shame you very much. It's okay.
I've
What,
always
shame
liked
me
this.
for being a Scorpio? Is that what the?
I guess. Yeah.
I say that I do not like relate to my zodiac sign at all.
I don't
I don't
relate
know
to
anything
mine. I'm a
about my
Taurus.
I don't
zodiac
even.
signs.
Yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know what my sign is.
Scorpio at least sounds cool.
It,
It's a Bond villain.
The whole thing of Scorpio is like quick to anger and like being aggressive and literally the exact opposite.
I would
You're a
say
faker.
so.
Oh, this also has infections in it. That's interesting.
Oh,
It's another disease episode.
great.
Oh.
We're really we're gonna need
Uh,
a change of pace at some point.
Good
But
thing
I was
but to wrap up,
trying- yeah, I was trying to Google whether aphasia affects sign language, and I discovered I couldn't spell
Oh.
aphasia.
It's a weird word.
I know she
let
has a
Google
very
fix it
odd
for you.
word.
Just do your best. But anyways, wrapping this up, I already liked this episode, but after talking to you guys about it, I like it even more. And like I said, there's a lot of things that like contextually kind of have changed over the years, especially with the pandemic. So yeah, I'm gonna give this episode a solid 9.5. I thought it was a really good, strong, interesting episode, especially knowing that they handled the aphasia correctly. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Let's go, Joel, then Aaron, Marcel, and then Rachel. You can end us off with your ratings. So Joel, final thoughts and ratings.
Yeah, I really like this episode because not only do we get O'Brien suffering, we get poor freighter captain Jahil, who just wants to get his stuff out before it goes bad. But
Oh yeah, we really didn't even talk about that guy, but wow.
he just kept
He
coming up.
seems
He's like, I
stressed.
just fix my ship. Just let me out. It's gonna. I mean, there should be. I assume later they had a policy like the Federation will reimburse you for your whoozy what's that are gonna go bad.
They should have a policy.
But they didn't
the
apparently there.
The Federation will reimburse you if you run into some Starfleet nonsense. Like,
I'm sure he's gonna get a new ship out of this, for sure. I mean, the Federation.
Well,
he's lucky he didn't die.
he almost blew up the station though by trying
Yeah.
to-
He did almost blow up the station. That's true. That's
But
true.
I'll give this one a 9 because it's probably not that great an episode on its own, but just Mimi's acting and portrayal it's so good that plus all the Odo-Core stuff, very good episode. Once you factor all of it.
Aaron, how many aphasia or whatever?
I give it 4 flower units out of 17 windows.
I love it.
No, I really enjoyed it. And more so than I thought I would, because I remember it was an early episode. I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it going to be kind of like clunky? But it was actually done really well, and I enjoyed it. It's just fun too. On top of it,
Right on, Marcelo.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Like Joel, I really like watching the version of O'Brien must suffer bad time. But I did feel like this episode did give me a claustrophobic feeling, and it did remind me of when the world went to hell in a handbasket, which I thought was very, very poignant. But my overall rating for this episode would be an 8 out of 10.
Wow,
Really
very
great.
cool. Rachel.
I also really enjoyed this episode. I think I'd also be an 8 out of 10. By the way, it does seem to affect sign language in somewhat.
Okay.
Which does make sense. It's still communication.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Your brain doesn't know the difference.
Yeah, exactly.
There are certain things that they do know the difference, but like, when you read and you listen, they're two different things, even though you're getting the same information.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Although
I'll be quiet now.
it's like as far as learning goes, it's the same.
is it? Oh,
Like
okay.
your brain, yeah.
Huh.
Or as far as specifically stories, because I was in a debate with someone being ableist. I really enjoyed this episode, and I think this very much feels like a very like Star Trek-y episode where it's like, here's a weird problem, and we're just gonna watch the characters you love deal with it, and
Exactly.
and that's what I want to do. Like
That is
all
what
the time.
it's true.
Like
And I did finally look up and figure out what they call sick bay in DS9. It's the infirmary.
Yeah.
I could not remember that last time we talked, and I kept thinking it was med bay or something. I knew it wasn't sick bay, but
that's Babylon
Infirmary.
5, I think, isn't it?
yes,
Medbay?
it is. I was finishing Babylon 5.
Oh, Bab
Okay,
5
there you
calls it Medbay? That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, this was a lot of fun. What have you guys got to promote this week or tell folks about where they can find you on various social platforms? Why don't you go first this time, Marcelo?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Balloon Head Productions where I do Buffy rewatches. I do For All Mankind discussions. As a matter of fact, our new episode's coming out this Wednesday. Come and check us out. I am going to do a Babylon 5. Oh, sorry, not Babylon 5. Battlestar Galactica discussion series. The Nanny discussion series is coming eventually. And I also do Dawson's Creek reactions and all lovely stuff. So if you want to see more of my annoying little face, come over and support me over there.
He's a very prolific podcaster. That's one of the reasons I haven't, my fault mostly, but one of the reasons we haven't even finished our Discovery discussion, but we will.
Yeah, we will. We got one left.
We've got one episode left. Yeah, it's true. We'll do it. Rachel, what have you got to promote?
Hi, I'm a frequently on Text Trek. I do our
Yes.
first reaction streams. We're still figuring out how that works when you're releasing 20 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
One 48-hour episode, and then you're done.
Well, we had.
That's a long episode.
Okay, I'll tell you that we had an idea, and we had to point out the date. He's like, okay, what if we, it comes out on a Monday? We'll talk about it that Thursday, and then we realized that Thursday was 4th of July, and we're like,
Oh,
not a good idea.
Gosh, that's
okay.
So I'm probably not doing a stream on 4th of July. I'm also on Mutants and Masterminds, which is I'm sorry, I'm a Masks of Mayhem, a game where we play Mutants.
I was gonna say
Masterminds.
that's like
I do it all the time. Should we have made a show with the same initials as the game we play? Absolutely not. I do this all the time. But it's the I think at this point the longest running Mutants and Mastermind podcast.
Oh, wow.
And then you also can find me at Dramadark884 on like Twitter. I'm always going to call it that. TikTok, Instagram, if TikTok's still there. Who knows?
yeah, we don't know what the fate of TikTok is going to be.
But maybe more on Instagram soon. We'll see.
We'll see, indeed. Excellent. Joel, what about you? I know folks can find you at Valis.
Yeah, that's right. On Twitter, I'm Valis, and yeah, I will be at the Text Trek stream watch along thing that will be starting very shortly. And last night I was on Starfleet Boy. It's still called Starfleet Boy After Dark, even though it's Starfleet So Hail. And
right. Actually, we're just calling it the. We're trying to just call it the After Dark show now, but
even
whatever.
Though Sohail was on the moon too, and is having problems with his hands phasing in and out of reality. So.
Oh God, it's so creepy. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's where I've been recently. How about you, Aaron?
I am. Let's see. I'm at Geek Filter on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Any platform is Geek Filter. This month I had a Sons of Trek comic book cover come out. Cover B. I just did a fan poster for Aaron Waltke for Prodigy.
Very cool.
Which
yes.
kind of came across
So
as like an official thing, which was not good and good at the same time. So, it's Voyager A. Some people didn't realize that had already been announced like last year that Voyager A existed, and they got very mad at me for spoiling it.
They didn't watch, I guess.
Like, okay. So I did that, and we are rebooting Drawn to Trek.
End of the season? Is that not?
No, it was there was a video. They had like a whole clip of season 2 in August of 2023.
Yeah, I was just like, I definitely knew that.
And then they talked about it too, like in anything that they announced when they're talking about this second season.
Well, at the end of the season, they imply they're going on a new Voyager.
Well, yeah, at the very end, they had the 2 shuttlecrafts from the Voyager A when they landed. So
right, yeah, exactly.
It's not that much of a surprise. Like, if you're not paying a lot of attention, it could.
Calm down, people. Calm down.
To be fair, I took a screenshot of this, and I don't think I put it anywhere. Of someone under Trek Corps being like, "But why would Netflix have Prodigy, and they had completely missed everything. Like, didn't know it was canceled. Didn't know it. I was just like,
Trekcore?
Trekcore?
no, it was someone. They were responding to Trekcore.
Oh, gotcha.
okay.
Wait a second.
And
Something's
then-
wrong here.
And then
Something's wrong.
and then Trekcore was like explaining what had happened. I was like, what a different world I live in to this person.
Yeah.
It's true. And then
That was like
Dron-
8 months of my life.
Right.
so with
I
Prodigy
mean,
though,
look at Worf back there.
with Prodigy, Drawn to Trek is going to return.
Yes,
full-
and
yeah.
I think we're going to be teaming up with Fathery and Dave to do reviews of that, just because there's a lot to cover, and it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense
Oh,
for us
God.
to do two separate
Is
things.
that no? But that's a YouTube channel or a podcast, Aaron?
It's a podcast,
podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
and
Podcast.
well, it's also, I guess, technically a YouTube thing then too. If we're
Okay.
looking
Well,
for
is
reminding it.
Drawn to Trek? Is that?
Drawn to Trek? Yes.
Okay.
Brilliant
And
title.
it's Star Trek animation podcast. And
Okay.
we're also going to be doing, after when we're not doing Prodigy, we're going to be doing half-hour episodes of talking about TAS and certain aspects of it, and that's what actually Sohail and I are going to talk about that after this call.
Wow. I just thought
Excellent.
of something really cool.
Okay.
Something you
Yeah,
want to
no.
share with the audience, or
Oh no. Well,
Too cool
well,
for the
well,
audience.
no, well. Aaron just jogged my memory, and I can't wait to talk to him after the call.
oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, just to wrap it up, you can find Starfleet Sohail on a bunch of different places. I occasionally pop in on Text Trek. Can be found out the Salon. A couple of Salonsters are here in the audience. Thanks for coming over this morning, guys. Salon, it's great.
That's
Monsters.
And of course, you can find me here. I'll be on Drawn to Track. I occasionally. I don't think I've ever been on any of your podcasts, Marcelo. You have to invite me on.
Yes,
You're-
you were on my show.
I was.
You
Which
were on
show
the
was
Red
that?
Wall. You were on.
Oh, I was
Red
on the.
Wall,
That's the
bro.
only time I've been on. Is on.
No,
is
but
the
that's
one
it.
time.
But
One time I was on doesn't count.
here's the trivia question. Here's a trivia fun fact for you guys. If you guys want to see the first time that we ever met, that is actually on my podcast.
Yeah,
Um,
Marcelo interviewed me. I was so chuffed. I was like, someone wants
Yeah,
to
you're so
interview me.
chuffed.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But anyways,
Yeah.
check us out. We've been very inconsistent lately because of various things going on in my personal life, from like a little bit of illness to like inclement weather, losing internet, all kinds
Becoming
of weird.
non-corporeal.
Yeah, becoming non-corporeal, like this thing here.
Being on the moon.
Oh, like Thomas.
Oh, no,
is
I
that
couldn't
too-
mute it. Sorry.
Oh my.
But anyways, check us out. We're trying to be consistent weekly. On Fridays, we're doing a watch along series with discussion series for Lower Decks with Trek on the Tube. Saturdays we do this show, and we'll be covering Star Trek Prodigy as well when it comes out. We'll probably just figure out a way to do it on Saturdays or something, because it might be easier, but we'll see. Anyways,
Yeah.
folks, thanks for joining us. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.